You know that bottle of water is sitting on your desk? It's been on this absolutely incredible journey, one that kicked off centuries ago as just a single raindrop. So today, we're going to follow that secret path, all the way from deep inside the earth right into your hand. Let's dive in. I mean, it's a question a lot of us have probably asked, right? You're paying extra for that bottle of water, but what are you really getting? Is it just expensive tap water? Well, the answer is a whole lot more complex and honestly, way more fascinating than you'd probably guess. Okay, so to really get what makes mineral water so special, we have to go back to the very beginning. And I mean the very beginning. This whole story, it's not about factories or assembly lines. Nope. This is a story about geology and a whole lot of time. You know, what's absolutely incredible here is just the sheer amount of time we're talking about. This isn't some quick overnight thing. Rain or snow, it starts seeping deep into the earth. And as it trickles through all these layers of rock, we're talking limestone, granite, you name it, it's getting naturally filtered. But here's the cool part. It's also acting like a natural solvent, slowly picking up all these minerals from those very rocks. All of that enriched water then gathers in these deep, protected underground pockets called aquifers, a process that can take years, decades, sometimes even centuries. So, okay, nature does all this incredible work, right? But how do we make sure that purity actually makes it all the way to the bottle? Well, that's where a pretty strict rulebook comes into play, all designed to guard the source. Now, the official definition here is absolutely crucial. See, natural mineral water has to come from a protected underground source. But even more than that, producers are basically forbidden from chemically treating it or doing anything that would mess with its original mineral profile. The whole goal is to capture that water exactly as nature created it. And this isn't just a suggestion. It's taken super seriously all across the globe. You've got the US and the EU with these really strict rules about protecting the source and making sure the mineral content stays consistent. And India's standards, they're just as high, but with one major addition: mandatory certification. It's not some optional extra, it's literally the law. And this right here is the absolute key takeaway for anyone buying mineral water in India. That ISI mark, the one that corresponds to standard IS 13428, that is your guarantee. It tells you that the water comes from a protected source, that its mineral content is stable, and that it hasn't been chemically messed with. If there's no ISI mark, well, then it's just not certified natural mineral water. Simple as that. All right, so if that's what makes mineral water unique, how does it really stack up against the other kinds of water in our lives? Let's do a little side-by-side comparison to really see what the differences are. Okay, so the difference really starts at the source, right? Mineral water is coming from those deep, protected aquifers we talked about. Tap water here in India, though, that's typically coming from surface sources, rivers and bore wells. Because of that, it has to be treated, usually with chlorine, just to make it safe to drink. And even then, because of potential issues like old leaky pipes, its purity right when it comes out of your tap, well, that isn't always a guarantee. Now, what about distilled water? This is a completely different beast altogether. So the process here is boiling water into steam and then condensing it back down. When you do that, it leaves all the dissolved stuff, all the minerals, behind. So you get pure H2O, sure, but you also lose all those minimals, which is exactly why it often has that kind of flat or, hollow taste. It's perfect for things like steam irons, but maybe not the best for your daily drinking water. So we've mentioned taste a few times now, so let's get really specific. Because those minerals we keep talking about, they aren't just some random chemical line item on a report. No, they are the very source of the water's unique flavor profile. Think of this as the secret recipe, one that's written by geology itself. A high calcium content, that gives you a smooth, almost milky mouthfeel. A little bit of magnesium can add a hint of bitterness. Bicarbonates tend to balance things out with a sweet finish, while sulfates add a certain crispness. You know how wine has terroir from the soil and climate? Well, water has a geological terroir. This unique mineral fingerprint is exactly what premium brands are marketing, and it's what gives each and every one its signature taste. But you know what? Taste is only half the story. These dissolved solids, they have a measurable physical presence, and they can actually play a pretty surprising role in our bodies, too. So this number you see, 500 milligrams per liter, this represents the standard limit for something called total dissolved solids, or TDS, in potable water in India. Basically, it's just a way of measuring the total amount of minerals, salts, and metals that are dissolved in the water. And while tap water can vary a lot, natural mineral waters, well, they're valued for having a really consistent TDS level straight from the source. And here's why all of this matters beyond just, quenching your thirst. The calcium and magnesium in mineral water can contribute to bone and muscle health. Bicarbonates, they can help with digestion. Now, obviously, the food we eat is our #1 source for these minerals, but the water you drink can for sure play a really important supporting role. So let's go back to that first question. Is it just expensive tap water? Well, I think the answer is a pretty definitive no, right? It's a product of a centuries-long journey through the earth. It's protected by super strict regulations, and it has this unique mineral fingerprint that totally affects its taste and its composition. So the next time you twist open a cap, maybe just take a second to think about that epic journey. Because what you're drinking, it isn't just water. It's a little piece of geology.
You can download the complete notes of this video from the pinned comment below. If this video helped, do like and subscribe to the BriefCase for daily visual explanations.